Okay, let's dive right in. We're talking about how to master the news in 2026. And, let's be real for a second. Trying to keep up with the news these days feels less like being informed and more like trying to drink from a fire hose in the middle of a hurricane. But there is, for sure, a way to find the real signal in all that noise.
So, does this sound familiar? You pick up your phone just for a quick peek at what's going on, and suddenly an hour's gone by. You're deep in a doom scroll and you just feel stressed out, maybe angry, or just totally drained. That constant flood of alerts and headlines, yeah, it's exhausting.
And here's the thing you have to know. That feeling? It is not your fault. The entire system is literally designed to get you hooked, to keep you a little bit anxious, and to keep you scrolling. But, and this is the important part, you can absolutely take back control. And this explainer? Well, this is your roadmap to do just that.
First things first, to solve a problem, you really have to understand it. The way we get our news has completely changed, and we need to get a clear picture of what we're actually up against in this new media world of 2026.
This is the core of the problem. The source material calls it the answer economy. See, it's not just about news channels telling us what happened anymore. Now we have AI summarizing articles for us, and social media algorithms that decide what we see based on what's going to get the biggest emotional reaction, not what's the most important or factually accurate. Now, this is a really crucial distinction to make. To really get a handle on the news today, you have to understand the difference between information and intelligence. Information is just raw data, stuff that hasn't been checked. But intelligence? That's the verified truth with all the context. And the tricky part is, the job of turning one into the other has pretty much been dumped entirely on us.
So the challenges we're facing are pretty clear. First, you've got this AI layer, which just strips away all the important nuance from a story. Then there's this huge trust gap, thanks to all the crazy deepfakes and just plain old misinformation floating around. And on top of all that, we're dealing with constant emotional manipulation designed to pull at us and keep us clicking.
So what do we do about it? How do we fight back? This is where we stop reacting and start getting proactive. We're going to build what the source calls a pro-media diet.
I love this analogy. Think of information exactly like you think about nutrition. That constant snacking on headlines every few minutes, that's the junk food. It's the empty calories of the news world. It gives you a quick rush but leaves you feeling anxious, and you don't really remember anything important.
So, a healthy, balanced diet has three main parts. First, you've got your aggregators, which show you how a bunch of different places are covering the exact same story. It's a great way to spot bias. Second, you have specialists, like curated newsletters that give you real expert analysis. And third, and this is a big one, try to go to the primary sources, the original scientific study, the full government report. You get the idea.
And it's not just what you consume, it's when. The source suggests setting up a schedule, kind of like this one, to beat that news fatigue. A quick summary in the morning, maybe one deep, long-form article midday to really stretch your brain, and then, this is crucial, you disconnect in the evening. You have to practice JOMO, the joy of missing out. It's a total power move. Okay, this next section is maybe the most useful, hands-on tool in this whole explainer. It's a really simple 4-step method you can use to check on almost anything you see online in just a few seconds. But first, you have to know when to use the toolkit. And here's the trigger. If a story makes you feel a super intense emotion, like rage or shock or even pure joy, that's your red flag. That's your cue to pause, because that extreme emotional reaction is a huge sign that someone might be trying to manipulate you. And here's the method itself, SIFT. It's super easy to remember. S is for stop. Just stop. It's the most important step. Don't share it, don't react, just pause. I is for investigate the source. Who wrote this? Is it a real news outlet? F is for find other trusted coverage. Are the big reputable news organizations talking about this? And T is for trace the claims. Follow the quotes and pictures back to their original source. All right, so now we have a diet plan and a verification toolkit. The next piece of the puzzle is a shift in your mindset. It's all about learning how to tell the difference between what's actually important and all the chatter that just surrounds it. This slide breaks down the difference between signal and noise perfectly. Noise is all the stuff designed to get a reaction, the sensational headlines, the online arguments. But the signal, that's the stuff with real long-term impact on your life. Things like policy changes or major economic shifts. Mastering the news means training your brain to ignore the noise and lock on to the signal. And hey, if you only take one single tip from this entire explainer, please make it this one. Turn off the push notifications for your news apps. Seriously, don't let your phone decide when it's time for you to be worried or outraged. You check the news on your schedule, not theirs.
All right, for our last section, let's talk about the psychological game here. Because mastering the news isn't just a technical skill. It's really about protecting your own mental and emotional well-being.
I absolutely love this quote from Viktor Frankl. The stimulus, that's the shocking headline. The response is that immediate feeling of anger or fear. But that space in between, that's where our power is. That's the moment we choose to use the SIFT method. It's where we decide not to get pulled in. It's where we take our control back.
So here are a few last power moves to help you build that space. Try this rule. For every 10 headlines you skim, make yourself read one deep dive article to really understand the why. And actively look for something called solutions journalism. These are stories focused on how people are actually fixing problems, not just complaining about them. And finally, the simplest rule of all, don't just react, think.
Because really, this is the big takeaway. We have to completely redefine what it means to be informed. It's not about knowing every single thing that happens. It's about developing the skill to know who and what you can actually trust. And this just says it all, doesn't it? We are swimming in an ocean of infinite content. In a world like that, the ability to discern truth from noise, to find the signal in the chaos, well, that's a genuine superpower. So, I'll just leave you with this one final question to think about. In a world of infinite content, how are you going to use your superpower?